Me, I feel as though I'm racing against the clock, to be honest. I don't have balance. I feel like I'm playing catch up. Right? Look, interest rates are at 8%. Property values are now at $500,000. Back in the day, property values were like $70,000. Right? Like I'm not getting passed down anything. So I'm trying to create right now. So I really don't have time. What I care about is how can I go out into this world and create a life, build an empire.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the one and only Naeem Boucher, friend of mine, game changer in the real estate industry for sure, investor, but more importantly to me, a friend. And a perfect candidate for our podcast today, which is the one and only, you guys know, Real Lives of Real Estate. You have a great story, Naeem, that you share quite openly. It's very inspirational. I definitely want to touch about it briefly. More so want to focus on what does it look like to live in real estate world today, right? And what does that really mean, right? People love the IG, but what does it look like in reality? What did you grow up in? Did you grow up in a house, an apartment? What did you grow up in?
I grew up in like different environments. Like at one point I was living with my mom. Then at one point I was living with my grandma. Then at one point I was living in high school. Then at one point I was living in college. So
When you say you were living in high school, you mean you were living in the physical high school space?
Yeah.
How does that work?
I dormed actually about 5 minutes down the road from here, St. Benedict's Prep.
You did not go to St. Benedict's.
I went to St. Benedict's.
Oh my God, you're a St. Benedict's man.
Yes, sir.
That is why you're such a great guy. We love St. Benedict's.
Yeah.
Did you graduate from St. Benedict's?
Absolutely. 09.
Brother, this makes so much sense about you. This is why you're so assertive, why you're such a leader, why you have that presence about you. It's because you're a St. Benedict's man.
100%.
Brother, we just were there on Friday.
It's a great school.
Oh, it's the best school ever.
100%.
We just went to convocation or chapel on Friday morning. Now you know they have the girls there.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
Yep. I went there for soccer, actually. I went there for soccer.
Oh, my God. You were a freak of nature soccer player then. They're number one in the country.
Number one.
Okay, pause. We got ahead of ourselves. You got me excited about that. So talk to me about this. Before you went to St. Benedict's, what was real estate looking like? Did you live in a house? Did you live in a mansion? Did you live in an apartment? Did you live in a building?
So when I was younger, my mom had a house before she got divorced, and we lived it was like a 2-family house. So there was a house in front, there's also a house in the back.
She owned this?
Yes.
Oh wow.
And then we lived in the house in the back. But then she ended up going through divorce, and then the situation started to change, and then I started kind of to live with my grandma. But then around that time, I ended up going to high school, and then I ended up dorming in high school. So prior to that, we lived at my grandma's house. My grandma came to America from Guyana, and then she bought a house in Patterson, where it was like a family house.
Wow, these immigrant women just buying houses. How did they get these houses? How did they do it?
She worked. My grandma walked from whatever apartment she was living all the way to the hospital. She cleaned hospital rooms, and she saved. She bought her first property for.
Was it a
her 6
multifamily?
kids. Multifamily.
Did you know that were you aware enough as a kid that
No.
you were living in a multifamily?
No.
So when did it click to you that you lived in a multifamily?
When I got older.
How old do you think was the?
She was probably out of college.
So you didn't realize, boy, I'm in a multifamily till after college.
Yeah. I never really looked at houses like that until I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and fully understood.
Okay. Why did you move so much if your parents if your mom owned the property?
It's really all a blur. From what I can remember, we used to live with my grandma at first in her house on the 2nd floor, and then after that, my mom ended up getting a house, and then we ended up moving there. And then I remember it just being kind of tough times, and I will always go to my grandma's house, so I will always just kind of just stay at my grandma's house, and we were kind of dealing with stuff at the time, and I just remember I would always like to just be with my grandma. My cousin lived there; he was like a brother to me, so I would just be there. And then, then when I started dorming in high school.
What led to that decision that you were like, because not everyone dorms at St. Benedict's. People don't know.
Yeah.
St. Benedict's, amazing school, right on MLK, literally 2 blocks over. You knew this building better than anybody else.
Correct.
If you think about it, you've driven by this, walked by this a million times.
Correct.
So what led you to, 1, choose St. Benedict's? That's the first question. And then 2, what led you to choose to live there?
When I was growing up in Patterson, I was kind of forced to play soccer. So that was like their way of keeping me off the streets and out of that environment. And I stuck with it. We ended up being one of the top teams in the country. We won state cup. And then
Wow.
the goal was for the majority of us to go to St. Benedict's because St. Benedict's was some all-boys school. They were #1 school in the country. So I was like, all right, if everyone's going, I'll go. And then when I went, it was only me and maybe another one of my teammates. Everyone else didn't come.
Oh.
So then now I'm like, wait, what? Where's everyone? I called my mom, like, no one's here. Like, I'm leaving. Like, get me out of here. I'm going back to Patterson. My mom was like, no, you're staying there. My mom saw the school. She liked it because, she saw, I guess, what they did for young men, especially African-American men, black men. And she wanted me to stay. And I said, you know what? I'll just stay. And then, it's like an hour commute on the bus. And then there's this thing called velvet rope where they kind of let you live in the dorms just to kind of keep kids who may be easily distracted or whatever, just to kind of keep them focused. So they ended up putting me in velvet rope, so I ended up dorming. But then I was able to leave on the weekend to go back to my grandma's house. So that was kind of like how that happened.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the program. It is really beautiful to me, though, to see, like, we talk about real estate in terms of houses, right? You're a realtor, I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
Usually houses are multifamily buildings, whatever. But St. Benedict's is a piece of real estate. Yeah. Ultimately, right? It was a Benedictine monastery, right? At one point, then I got into real estate here in Newark, and I think it's so interesting because there's such a variety of uses of real estate, and even there's a school now, right? A private school. Even the way they do the private school is just such an impact. Whereas if they didn't have that space, that would never exist. Like, for example, if there was a new school that wanted to open up in Newark and do something like they're doing, it would be impossible. They financially would never be able to afford it. It would be unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
How could a private school? It'd be, and they charge, I think, $19,000 a year, and of the $19,000, the average student only pays like $4,000, right?
Sounds about
it's like
right.
Free, right? Essentially not free, but it's like almost like free for a lot of
they
students.
rely on a lot of donors and
a lot of
alumni.
donors. Oh yeah, that's the one thing we got to give. Our team, we're like, we got to give. Yeah. How can we not give to these people? Like we just feel hard. We can't do. So the point is this: there's a great idea. There's a great pragmatic of. Not only did they use a school to impact and improve life, right? Your life.
Correct.
And then you went on to, you've impacted my life, you've improved my life, you've impacted and improved the lives of many. But they have housing on the grounds.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Mm-hmm. Don't get it twisted.
Yep.
Wow, okay.
But the crazy part about that story is that
There's more?
Yeah, I went there for soccer, right? Okay. And I didn't even make varsity until I was a senior.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
So
these people are crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
They're international.
It's ridiculous.
International.
It's ridiculous. Like their freshman team could beat other varsity teams. So when I was there, I went for soccer, and every day I went feeling like I wasn't good enough. And I felt like my only way out of the hood was to become a professional soccer player. So every day was a realization, like, damn, maybe this isn't it. This isn't it. And maybe I should quit. And I stuck through it. I was always upset. I ended up wrestling because I was just literally angry. And I actually left as a captain and All-American as a wrestler. And I played one game at when I was a senior, and I scored 1 goal.
Hey,
the one game that I did play.
That was beautiful.
So yeah, I learned
that meant a lot to you.
Yeah. The one thing that I learned there was, I guess, never giving up, being persistent, and even though you're getting told no every day, one day you'll get your yes, and when you get your yes, you take advantage of that opportunity.
I am so happy you're a St. Benedict's man. I want to send my kid, Maverick, when he grows up, St. Benedict. It's the best place ever. For school-wise, now I visited a few times. The reason why I like it is like the caliber of men that it produces.
Yeah.
Like an 18-year-old guy from St. Benedict's, in my opinion, is more mature nowadays than a 20-year-old.
100%.
It's insane.
100%.
It's insane.
100%.
Okay, so then you went to school at NGIT, right?
No, William Patterson University.
Oh, you went back to Patterson.
No, that's the Wayne.
It's right next to Wayne.
Yeah.
It's on the border.
Yeah.
It's right there. Yeah. So Willie P. Why Willie P?
Willie P, to be completely honest, I didn't even want to go to college. I didn't even want to go to college. The high school coach calls me into his office like, hey, Naeem, what do you want to do for college? Like, honestly, I had no idea. And he goes, you want to go? I don't know. He goes, well, there's William Patterson. And then he had the coach actually give me a call. He said, oh, I got this guy. I was writing off, hey, I got this guy, and Naeem's very fast at saying all this good stuff about me. He only saw me play one game that I thought of. And then the guy goes and says, hey, I want him. And then the guy says that a kid who I played soccer with when I was younger just committed. So because that guy committed, I was like, you know what, that's one of my best friends. I'll go.
And you played at Willie P.
And I played at Willie P. all 4 years.
Brother, you are a freak athlete. I did not know this. Mm-hmm. Now, fast forward, you always talk about the story. I got to bring it up about how real estate impacted your life and the moment that always sticks out with me. Tell us about the attic, how did that physical space, and I think that's a great idea because that's an example in my mind of how physical space can drastically influence
Yeah.
our mental psyche.
Yeah. So after college, I got my first full-time job, which was coaching soccer. And I was making 30 grand a year. But I had student debt. And I thought I was making money. All right. I'd never made any money before. So I started wasting my money on nonsense, BS, this, that. You know, I was managing it okay. But then I ended up leaving with my mom. My mom, I think, ended up, something happened with her business and then she had to downsize. So then I had, like, literally I went to the apartment and then my sister said, Naeem, like, we're downsizing. You got to go figure out where you're going to go live. So then I'm like, oh, wow. Ended up getting my first apartment. And then my mom actually, she left some stuff in my name. So now whatever money I was making, it was going out the window. I was making money, it was going out the window. So now I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm like, oh, well, something got to change. So then my grandma, she had a space in her attic. So literally when I went there, it was full of junk. I went there, cleaned everything out, and I bought a futon. And that was my space, you know. So I was just out of college. Everyone I'm seeing traveling, getting their career jobs, and here I am living paycheck to paycheck, living in an attic. And I said, something's got to change. And I think the moment when I said something's got to change was when I went downstairs to go in my car. I had a hoopty at the time, an Acura RXX. Someone broke into my car, and I didn't have any money to fix the window. So then I broke down on the porch. I was crying, and my sister saw me, and I'm like, yo, like, I got nothing, and people are trying to take stuff from me. And that was the moment I said, all right, I got to change my life. Like, something's got to change. And then I stumbled across personal development when I was getting a haircut. My barber said something about Jim Rohn, and I said, you know, what I got to lose? And I started searching everything in regards to Jim Rohn. And I just started listening to his podcast or watching his videos, and he said something. You want to change your life, but you never read a book. Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He said, you want to be healthy. You don't even walk around the block. You know, you don't eat an apple a day. Just a bunch of different things. I read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Richest Man in Babylon. Then when I read Richest Man in Babylon, the biggest thing was, okay, when you make money, make sure a part of all you earn is yours to keep. So start with 10%. The richest man in Babylon, that's what he did. He saved money, then he invested that money. So I learned that concept. Then I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then, I mean, that book pretty much says you can buy a property, you can have multifamily property, and you rent it out. The tenants will pay your mortgage, and you can actually be left over with what is called cash flow. So when I said, oh my God, what? Light bulb went off. So if I can buy 10 houses and make at least $1,000 a month on each house, I can make $10,000 a month. Light bulb went off. I'm like,
yeah, pop off.
Got it. I'm going to live in this goddamn attic. I'm going to sell every goddamn thing. I'm going to drive this goddamn hoopty. I'm not going to go on vacations. I'm going to save all my money. I'm going to figure out a way to make money. I was coaching soccer. I got a sneaker coaching job on the weekends. I was also a substitute teacher. I was doing whatever I can to make more money so I can invest it to buy my first property. Bought my first property, and that first property actually made $1,000 a month.
How make you feel?
Like I was on the right path. I was locked in. I wrote on the door to remind myself every time that I was leaving, a part of all I earned is mine to keep. Wealth, dream car, house, family, real estate. I will overcome my adversity, and that was just a reminder because I hated being in the attic. I hated it, but that was my reminder.
I will overcome adversity.
Yes.
If you think about it, because, man, and I want to applaud you, man, by your story for sure, because you did something that very few people do. You just took radical responsibility.
Yes.
You could have said, people are taking from me, I have nothing, right? And you could have just sat there on that porch and never have gotten up. And a lot of people live their whole lives and they never get up off that porch.
Correct.
Figuratively. They always just feeling bad for themselves. Oh, woe is me, woe is me. You overcame adversity. Now, you tie that to real estate. Now, if we can, I'll fast forward for you guys don't know. Naeem is multiple properties you've bought. You've lost money in real estate. You've made money in real estate. You've made good decisions, bad decisions. You grew a team. You shrunk the team. You grew the team. You're a game changer. You have your Airbnbs, right? You do your thing. Naeem is a hunter. He is a lion. He is a pack leader. Here's what people don't see, and this is why I'm very honored. And me and you I don't know how we even got together the first time. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember how we first got connected?
Probably a deal. Probably a real estate deal.
Here's what I really want people to see. You made it. People would be envious of you. I'm very vocal about my position, my mental health that I've had. I'm diagnosed PTSD, that I have quite a bit of challenge, that that my life isn't clean cut. How real estate is, in a way, been like this healthy drug, right? Because it's given me a sense of control and it's given me a sense of validation and recognition. At the same time, it's a double-edged sword, right? It's all consuming. It's the same validation you get from others. You want to almost be their savior. So then you try to save them and help them, and then they burn you, and then you're like, dang. Then it's hard not to feel like, wow, this is personal. They're like, this is just business.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all my journeys, I'm very vocal, but I want to hear from you. How has real estate, your success in real estate, how has that impacted your personal life, for better or worse?
Well, I mean, for better, everything that I've ever wanted, I've accomplished. Now just a matter of setting bigger goals. But for worse, I kind of hit a point where it's like, because I've always wanted to help others, right? Like once I able to do for myself, like okay, I figured this out. Other people don't know this stuff, so that's why I did what I did on social media. That's why I told my story. The reason why it was just to get someone's attention and help someone. But what happens when you are attracting people into your life, sometimes things that can look shiny, you attract good things and also bad things. So I've experienced both, and for me, I'm almost at a point where I'm now trying to filter through what's good and what's bad. I got to be more aware because, the bad things can be bad people looking to take advantage of you, bad people who are jealous and envious of you, friends. It can be family that are literally just want to take until, you're jammed up. And then when it's time for you, hey, I need a hand here, and they have nothing to give.
Yeah, thank you.
So I've learned that this year dramatically. So you really got to do a good job of filtering who's around you. Here's what I've been saying now: if people can't add to your table, then they're only taking away.
Do you feel as though there's a way to filter out who is going to be a taker and who's going to be an adder? And because my family, for example, I love my mother, love my father. Yeah. All my stuff. What I've learned, recently I have a team member, they pay their mom's rent. Yeah. Like I think in full or part. I'm like, what happens if you get sick? Your mom's dependent on you.
Yeah, yeah.
What happens if you don't have enough? Do you understand? Like, you're 22 years old. Your mom is a grown woman. She can work for herself. Yeah. I've got my mom the lease for the car. We're just buying her the car now. Great. But how do you find the line of like, this person is dependent on me, they're a taker, and I'm helping that person? Like, how do you navigate those kind of things?
I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I think there comes a point where you got to literally just say no to everything. Make sure you stabilize yourself and make sure you got everything in order within your house before you can help anyone else. Otherwise, you're going to over leverage.
You did say something about your house, though, like it's symbolic. Like you got to make sure everything's right in your house, which I agree. Make sure your cup is full first.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing. But I do got to ask you a question, Naeem. You said something that was a bold statement. You said, I have everything I always wanted. Do you really believe that now that you have it?
Everything that I dreamt about in the attic, like
everything that you dreamt about in your soul, whether it was in the attic or whether it was child or whether it was adult, your soul.
Well, no, not everything.
So what do you not have?
I would say someone that I fully trust.
You have no one that you fully trust?
No one.
What would it look like to fully trust somebody?
You gotta trust someone blindly. You gotta be able to trust someone blindly. Like someone that and they know you're aligned. You support them, they support you. You're not looking to take from them. Like you just want to see each other win. And it kind of reminds me of I hate to bring them up, but the relationship between the Tate brothers. Like they blindly trust each other. Yeah.
That's true.
And you don't really see that in today's society. Divorce is what 80% of marriages.
Just the numbers just keep going
and
up.
Divorce, right? The numbers are going up.
Do you feel like you are a person someone could fully trust?
I would say 100%. 100%.
Who would you say 100% trust you today?
Off the top of my head, I would say one of my best friends. His name is James.
James, how do you know him? James Capper, the realtor?
Yeah.
The lender?
The lender, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all the time, man.
My lender and me are very close, Carlos. Do you know I always have a challenge with him? Carlos Forget It, Keep Point Mortgage, I love you, shout you out. I always have a challenge because any person I make money with, I have one thing in my head. The moment we make money together, our relationship has not changed. The moment that I provide a good or service that makes you money,
Yeah.
our relationship is now changed.
Yeah.
Now I have a friend who I've been like coaching up, and he's making his own money separate from me. Relationship's still the same. But the moment that I make money with you,
Yeah.
the relationship is very different.
And I can understand that.
Oh well, for sure. You're not naive. You've gone through. You've been. We just talked before. You've been burned. I've been burned. Right. But what happens with my lender is always like I always have to remind myself. Yes, this man is my friend. Yes, I trust this man. And if I stopped being in real estate today, I shouldn't expect him to take my calls the same way. I shouldn't expect him to put his neck on the line for me. That's the truth.
I understand that.
And the same thing, because you and James, you guys knew each other from real estate, right?
Yes.
So if you stop getting real estate, you don't have any more deals sent him. You're not promoting any other agents to him. You guys drift. It's reasonable that he would you and him would be as close as you are now.
I like to think so. That's a great question.
I love to think so. I'm telling you in reality, and the way you got to know is you got to ask James, hey, are there any other realtors that got in the business that you still stay in touch with? And that's how you'll know. That's how you'll know.
No, but I'll say yeah. Look,
I'm not saying anything bad about him. Just like Carlos. I
give everyone the chance until they kind of prove me otherwise. You know, like I kind of. And I don't really give everyone just a chance. I'm a real isolated person. Massively isolated.
I don't know. That's why when you were being close, I'm almost like, I'm shocked I earned this. Yeah. I'm like somehow in the inner circle. I allow you give me access. But the same thing with Carlos. I will tell you the same thing. I've given Carlos many chances. Now me and Carlos been together 7 years. And I'm telling you, like only now, 7 years in, do I truly say like, okay, he's like my brother. Like he's someone who I can trust.
Yeah.
But it's been 7 years. Many deals he could have screwed me on.
Yeah.
Many times he could have taken the shortcut. I would never have known.
But here's the thing. When me and James met each other, I was a soccer coach, and he told me, "Quit the soccer. You could do well in real estate." And he wasn't as successful as he was in mortgages. You know, he probably just made his first 6 figures.
Oh, wow! So he's just ahead of you.
Exactly, he was just ahead of me. All right, and he added value to me by introducing me to people in the industry, and I was able to add value back because as I started to grow, we grew together, right? So it was always an exchange of value.
Do you know what you are with him? You're a comrade. That's what it is. So there's 3 things. TD Jake says he's like a confidant, comrade, and a constituent. Something like that. Yeah. Like a confidant is like literally my brother Brian or my brother Bruce. There are people who we're on mission together, and even if we weren't on mission together, we are like I trust it. He's like a mafioso, like he's my number 2 guy, right? He's my captain, right? Yeah. I trust this guy. Boom, that's my confidant, right? That's it. I got very few. You get 2 or 3 of those in your life. Yeah. You're lucky. Yeah. Right. Then you have your comrades. Comrades are people in the trenches with you. They're the ones pop. Yeah. That's what you and James have. Yeah. You guys are in the trenches. You guys got into the military. He was maybe 1 or 2 degrees, 1 or 2 ranking higher than you, and you worked up the ranks together. Now you're still fighting the Nazis. You're fighting the Nazis. So of course you're close. And this is my brother in arms. Yeah. Yeah. Right? And then like the constituents are people who you just pass by and you say, hey, what's good? Yeah. You're not against them, but you're not going to break bread with them.
Exactly.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Gotcha. So you would say he fully trusts you.
100%.
Okay, gotcha. Wow, I love that. Any women in the house? He's like, no women trust me. No, but that's why I was going to ask you too, because right now you're single or you're dating? Or are you
single?
Single, okay. Ladies, he's single. No, but he's a single guy. And is there any point in the attic that you came across your mind, hey, I want to be a family man. I want to be a husband.
Absolutely.
Okay, talk to me about that. And how has real estate impacted that?
Well, the whole reason for real estate is generational wealth. All right, so you need something to pass down to. So obviously, I would love to be with someone who was with me when I had absolutely nothing, in the trenches with me, and believed in me and just could support me. And then I go out into the world and go figure it out. And then I know that she was with me when I had absolutely nothing. And
it's a trust check, right? It's like a trust check.
You know what I mean? Now that is that's pretty much
it's impossible.
Impossible.
But couldn't you hide it? You don't think you could hide it?
Absolutely. Yes. There's ways to do that. There's ways to do that, but that way would have been a little bit better. I would like that,
Yeah, if she was sleeping with you in the attic, then it's okay. Now you can sleep with me in the loft.
Yeah, but there's ways to I guess find someone else that is like on their own path. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that part out. But you do need to have a companionship, someone to, because I do want a son one day, I want my last name to carry on. The property that I bought and I worked so hard for, all the lessons that I've learned, I would be doing the world, I feel, a dishonor by not having a younger, better version of me to continue to grow and inspire and, just be a good person,
Yeah, I feel like you would make a really good dad.
Absolutely.
You have a lot of love to give.
Absolutely, 100%.
You would be a really good dad. You would just have so much love to give. I feel like you'd be stern, but also like you would just really support.
100%.
You'd be like, hey, you got to do better, but you know what? I love you. I have your back. Whatever you need, son.
100%.
You would never I feel like you'd be great. How would you say the real estate has impacted your dating life? Like, do you think your dating life would be different if you weren't in real estate?
Probably yes.
How so?
Because I'm so focused. I'm so driven, and sometimes it can kind of come off like self-centered. But that's not. It is. I just feel like I have a big purpose, and. I guess when you're dating a woman, they want their attention, so you gotta have a good balance. And me, I feel as though I'm racing against the clock, to be honest. I don't have balance. I feel like I'm playing catch up. Right? Look, interest rates are at 8%. Property values are now at $500,000. Back in the day, property values were like $70,000. Right? Like I'm not getting passed down anything. So I'm trying to create right now. So I really don't have time. So I don't even know how people do it. They're on dating apps, swiping left, swiping right. I don't care what your favorite color is. I'm sorry. I truly don't. And I mean that respectfully. What I care about is how can I go out into this world and create a life, build an empire, and have someone that trusts me to go out into the world and do that.
Okay, so it sounds like basically your dating life is affected by real estate because you're just so busy. You're so in demand. Yes. There are people who respectfully are like 100 times busier than you, right? You would say, right? A million times busier than me. But they find time to date. They find time to be husbands. They make time.
Give me who?
That is like in a relationship and doing well. Yeah, I would say Gary Keller, the GOAT. This guy, he got divorced. His wife cheated on him with his business partner.
Okay, so the first one didn't work out.
The first one didn't work out. The wife cheated. It was something like that. And then he tried to make it work and then it didn't work. And then the second one, now they have an excellent marriage. And even myself, dude, I do very well. I'm as close to 7-figure earner as he gets. And I ultimately have my wife. We have a thriving marriage. We have a 1-year-old son.
Yeah.
We have a great life.
Yeah.
It's definitely doable.
But I will say this. Gary Keller's first one didn't work out, but now he has a better relationship. But I bet you this: they work on it every day. Every day you have to work on it. Even your relationship, every day you're working on it.
I'm taking my wife on date night tonight. Oh, we don't play.
So it takes two, right? So it takes two. You got to be able to work on
There's no way you're too busy to have that.
No, I'm not too busy. Someone has to be of like worth that, So
But how do you know when someone's worth that?
Hey, man. We both got to come to the table.
What would a woman who's worth that look like?
Trustworthy. Loyalty. Supportive.
What does supportive look like to you?
I would say supportive is like knowing that today's probably going to be a bad day, and how can I make this guy's day a little bit easier? Maybe I know this guy doesn't eat at all. He just wakes up and work, have breakfast, or don't even have to have breakfast. Just trying to find.
It's like nurturing. I think nurturing is the word you want.
Nurturing.
It's not supportive. She's not looking at you building an empire with you. You want someone to nurture you while you build.
Yes.
Okay, got you.
Yes. Nurturing.
Are you looking for, as they say, what's called, what was that thing? They're very popular. I saw this thing. My brother sent me that on Instagram. Boss chick, I think is a new term, like boss chick, boss lady. You're not looking for a boss chick. You're looking for a nurturing woman. That's what it seems like.
I mean, she could be a boss chick and nurturing,
I don't know. Do you know many boss chicks who are nurturing?
And hey,
name one of those.
I didn't say it.
Don't cancel me now. And there's nothing wrong. You can be. It's also it's not either or. It could be and. You could be a boss chick in certain areas of your life, and then be nurturing in other areas. You can do both. But it's very hard to be both in the same place. Okay, so what kind of advice would you give 1 year ago, Naeem, in terms of interpersonal relationships, friendships, family, romantic? What kind of advice do you give as it relates to how real estate's been in the middle of it? Financial success has been in the middle of it.
I probably, and the crazy part is because I do this, but I would have a line, right? Like a clear line between family time and like business time, and just doing a good job of being there for family, not necessarily overly doing it financially, but just being there. And then at the same time, having a clear way of saying no. you know, because sometimes family, because they're family, they feel as though they can ask you for things that most people can't, you know. So I did, you know, just doing a better job of saying no. I would say that. As for relationships, I would always just say stay focused on your purpose, and are you with someone who supports that, believes in that vision, and cannot distract you and take you off that path, and can they come along and be a part of it?
Wow. Okay. About the family, I want to just touch there for a second before I forget. I also, like, I grew up low income, my family, all these good things. Recently, my mom, I've helped out my mom in the past, right? Whatever, just like my dad, helped them out here and there. What I realized is I was actually hurting myself and I was hurting my mom.
Yes.
Because what I did is I destroyed the relationship of mother-son, and now it's just person who I put on, person and me.
Yes.
And it's really not two ways. So we can't have a conversation, or we can't hang out for more than 30 minutes an hour without talking about real estate deals.
Exactly.
So I've lost a mom and gained an employee.
Exactly.
And an employee is much cheaper than a mother.
Exactly.
So what I've done basically is I did two things. One, I put my mom on. I helped my mom build a cleaning business. She's totally on for it. And I've literally once almost fired my mom. Literally, I'm not kidding you. I said, Mom, you're fired. We negotiate. That's my mother. It's like, great, here's what you can do. Here's the KPIs. I'm never going to talk to you about this again. You're only going to talk to Savannah. She manages all the Airbnbs. That's a connection. Savannah, she's amazing, unbelievable. And so Savannah and my mom, they work it out now. When I talk to my mom, maybe we'll bring up the Airbnb stuff maybe once a month. Maybe for like just a quick little, oh, how you doing with that? Oh, I'm doing good. Great. Happy for you. Right? My mom now, she has a steady income. So she's put on. But what I've learned is that I can either have an employee or I can have a family member. I can either have a business partner or I can have a family member. And we have like risen our way up. So we love each people, right? You love people. I see it. And you want to bring everybody with you. What I've determined is I bring nobody with me. If you want to come with me, the door is open.
If you don't,
I'm not putting you on my team. Like one thing I always admired by you, but I got to be honest, always was like, holy crap, no way, is that you have like your family members on your team, right? Don't you think? Your sister's a realtor with you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for her. Nothing bad, like powerhouse, Boucher properties. You guys rock, right? I'm not saying anything negative, but bluntly, I'm like, I would never do that. Like my brother-in-law almost became my lender. And I now realize I'm like, oh, that would have been a horrible thing. Yeah. Because I've had close. I've had team members that become close friends. Yeah. And then we had conflict and they went off. Yeah. And man, that killed me. Yeah. That killed me.
Imagine with the family.
Oh, and now imagine with the family. Yeah. Imagine. Yeah. Even with family with money. Anytime I give family member money or friend money, can I tell you what I think in my head? I gave it away. Yeah. Oh, I gave recently someone a loan, substantial. In my opinion, it was like $30K, right? They needed a bad spot. I say $30K. It was a business deal. I said, I cannot loan this person the money. But they were in a horrible spot. There was no other option. They found themselves in a pickle. There was no other way, period. I thought to myself, I said, what am I going to do? This person is a very close friend of mine. If I loan them this money and they never give back, am I okay with that? Would I ever ask them for it? Would I hear about it? I said, I'm going to give them the money. I gave them money. I said, if you can one day, pay me back. Now, I put myself in a bad situation there because I even expected them, maybe, I hope for them to pay me back. Yeah. They had paid me back, so it wasn't a big deal.
Very good.
But still, dude, that was a horrible thing I did. Why? I jeopardized the friendship over some money. Yeah. So for me, man, I've just determined I'm never putting anybody on financially again. I'm always willing to pay for you happily. Recently, even my sister, she asked me to babysit my niece. Or she asked me to babysit my niece. Or no, it wasn't that. I'm sorry. One of my friends asked me to move. So can you help me move my stuff from New Jersey to New York? He's moved to New York. I said, I can't help, but I can send someone. I'll pay someone to help you move. I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy. You say, Brian, why is that? I'm very busy. I do not have the time. The time I want with you is I want high quality time. I'm not looking for labor sometime. I'm not picking up with the truck. There's fine boundaries on everything. And I don't know how you do it. Like, how do you coach your sister, for example, in your business?
Well, recently, what it is just a matter of just identifying what she wants, right? Or anyone wants, right? Because what I want is completely different from what my sister wants.
But you're giving your sister opportunity. You're giving your sister leads. You're giving your sister your reputation, your brand. 100%. You're giving her your time.
100%.
How do you maintain a sister-brother relationship when you have deals in the pipeline?
Yeah. It's tough, man. I'm not going to, it's very tough, But for me, I have to decide. I truly have to decide, and
Decide between what?
I rather see my sister hit her goals, whatever that may be, rather than, and I hate to say it, like being a better brother.
I would say being a brother.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the moment you hire someone,
Yeah,
you're no longer
yeah.
the brother.
Yeah,
Unless you want a miserable working relationship.
yeah. So it's almost like, and I say it to my sister all the time. Like I feel like at times I'm sacrificing myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And real estate, this is what I feel like it's done with you. It's made you sacrifice yourself. It's made you like, you put your others before yourself so often. And then out of nowhere, you like wild out and you say, okay, I'm just going to do me right now. Burn the world. Like you said before, you said, I'm at war with the world.
Yes.
And
I didn't even want to do this podcast.
You didn't want to do the podcast. I can't believe I got you on the podcast. What got you on the podcast? Because you did say I'm at war with the world. I don't want to do the podcast. Brendan, adios. What made you want to come on the podcast, share your story, encourage people to what it really looks like, the messiness, the goodness, and the bad of real estate life?
Because people have this misconception, right? People have this misconception where they think they see something from the outside, but they have no idea what's really going on the inside. And I've always been very transparent, so I've always been very transparent, and I'm not afraid to say that. You know what?
Oh yeah, you're open book.
I'm going through stuff right now, and it's adversity, and it sucks. It's painful, and it's painful because it was caused by people that I've attracted, and that people not even attracted, people that wanted to help, and I've had to learn these lessons. So I'm going to learn these lessons. I'm going to remember this moment. I'm actually doing a YouTube about this. Like this moment, I've documented 5 months ago.
Wow.
5 months ago, I'm literally documenting everything that kind of has happened and the adversities I'm going to go through. And I'm going to document me getting out of it because I'm not a quitter, right?
You overcome adversity.
And there's ups, there's downs. During the downs, are you learning the lessons? And are you going to never stop to give up on whatever it is? And me, whatever it is, whatever next is the better version of Naeem, I gotta go. I gotta go through these lessons. I gotta feel this pain, right? Because the Naeem in the future is counting on me to never give up, to learn these lessons, to be a better version of myself.
You know what St. Benedict says? One of their phrases that I saw on one of the walls: "Never do for a man what a man can do for himself." As I see you pulling yourself out of adversity, I'm here applauding you. I encourage. I'm a resource. But as I think of what you do for others, I think that's the word I'd encourage you with. Real estate has given you the capacity to pull others out.
Yes.
However, pulling others out, you're robbing them of the truth of whether or not they are a person who will get out.
I agree.
Your sister, she can achieve her goals. I hate to tell you, you're not that special. Do you know I'm not that special? Mm-hmm. Do you know if you take one of my team members and they work with you, do you know what would happen? They would thrive. Mm-hmm. We're not unicorns out here. Mm-hmm. We're not, the Ali Dama. I messed up. Anyways, the point is this. Your sister, you could refer her to me. If I had my sister, I could refer her to you. Mm-hmm. Say, hey, I know this guy. I trust him. I want you to swim with him. Go. And I think after what I've done with my family, everything I've seen with my close friends, I got one of my friends in the real estate, the lending business. It was a disaster. Mm-hmm. I pushed him. He ended up listening to my advice. It was one of the worst decisions I ever did. It really messed him up. A year later, he went back to his shop. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a lion or anything like that, or a hunter. You know what his problem was? Mm. It wasn't meant for him.
Yeah.
He had the goals like me and you.
Yeah. It's funny. One of my mentors, he now tells me, and it's funny, during different stages of your life, you meet different mentors. So one of my mentors right now, he says to me, the guy's like a multi-millionaire. He says, Naeem, you have a responsibility. Even if you meet a stranger on the street, right? And if you give that stranger, let's say $100, and that stranger ends up taking drugs or whatever, then he kills himself and dies in an overdose.
Oh my gracious, very dark story.
But the point is, like, you have a responsibility. So even if you create an opportunity for, say, some 18-year-old, mm-hmm. right, and you bring him on your team, and he makes his first six figures, and this kid now gets lost in the life and the girls and the drinking, whatever, and then
or his ego is way out of check.
Ego's way out of check, and now he drinks and drives, right? So, in some form, you're responsible. Now, that guy obviously has to, or whoever, they're their own person. They got to hold themselves accountable, but you're still responsible.
You have a level of responsibility. Yeah, I agree. You influenced it, so you take the responsibility for it.
And
even if it's not full influence, you still were a part of it.
Yes. So with the mistakes that I've made, with the people that I've been trying to help, I understand that I'm accountable and I was also responsible.
What would you say is one way real estate has impacted you that if you had known it, you probably wouldn't have gotten into the industry?
That you have to work with people that you want the best for, and they don't want the best for you. Because wherever they are in their life, and I get it,
wow,
they're focused on themselves. I was telling you before we hopped on this podcast, like, look, I come from absolutely nothing. Once I made my first 6 figures, it was all bonus.
Yeah.
It was all bonus.
Yeah.
And I own property now, I have passive income, and I say this respectfully. I say this all the time where like, look, like, if I didn't want to sell real estate anymore and I just want to be okay and comfortable and, I can do that, but that's not my purpose. I have big potential and, I want to keep going. But people that come into your life and they see you doing well and they can look at you like, oh, this guy got it, a little bit of envy, this guy thinks, a little bit of that. Like, I don't want to be around that,
And you think that would have really, like all the pain that's caused you think that would have really deterred you? You would have thought twice. You're like, man, I got to figure out a way around this.
Yes. I would have deterred that because I was blind. I thought that, hey, everyone knows I come from nothing. I want to help everyone. So I thought that, like kind of like Robin Hood. Like when Robin Hood, he took from the wealthy, then he gave to the people. So
it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
It's a harsh reality. But how old are you now, Naeem?
32.
You're 32. You learn at 32 what some men learn at 52.
Yes. So I'm grateful for the lesson, though.
It's challenging. An encouragement I give you is do not allow your heart to become so calloused.
Yeah. And that's the hard part.
And guarded. The best thing you can do, in my opinion, is like you already have the mentor. I always recommend everyone get counseling.
Yeah.
If you are not in counseling weekly, because the majority of men, like in our position, who came from nothing, drove up so quickly young, we're all, in my opinion, we're overcompensating for some level of trauma or abandonment or insecurity.
Yes.
So at a certain point, okay, great. Now wake up, right? We got to love ourselves. At a certain point, you got to love yourself.
I agree.
At a certain point, you got to realize, dang, life is more meaningful if I allow people in, and I cannot allow people in if I hate what's within. I had this realtor friend in New York, baller. He talks about his defining moment in his life. Just like me and you, he's young, he's making it, blah, blah, blah. And he gets a call from his top client. The guy owns like 2 or 3 buildings in New York City, like Manhattan, like small buildings, like Manhattan.
Yeah.
But pretty big deal, I would say. And the guy says, hey, I'm in Bermuda or Bahamas. I'm in the Bahamas. The guy called him on Christmas Day. I'm going to fly you down. I have like 10, 15 women here with me. Come on down. He realized on Christmas morning, he called his realtor to come out with him.
Yeah.
Think about that perspective. And maybe you're saying like, hey, Bahamas, 10, 15 women, happy Christmas, right? Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
But the reality is what? That's a shallow, meaningless, empty life.
Yep.
And if we don't get the healing, if we don't allow people in, if we don't merge relationships, if we don't just find people who are trustworthy, but if we don't become people of trustworthiness, we get killed. We end up alone, isolated, and that's when you get taken out, for sure. Okay, my last question for you, Naeem. What's one change you aim to make in 2024 as it relates to your personal life in light of real estate?
I would say I want to operate from a more peaceful place. Like I want to have people around me that I know are adding to the table. I'm able to add to the table. Like I'm a very firm person, but I kind of want to be a little bit more nonchalant, which I think I've been doing a better job of kind of being. But yeah, I just want to kind of just do a better job of just moving more peaceful. Not, I got to build wealth. 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 I got to buy another property. I got to buy another. No, I just want to be. It's going to come. I'm going to build. I'm going to stabilize. I don't want to be. this person trying to get me. Who got trouble? Like I don't.
It sounds like you're gonna walk away from being like the manicness, the panicness, the paranoia, the striving, and more of a place of stillness and peace and tranquility.
Yes, more stoic.
And it's more stoic.
More stoic.
Wow. Wonderful. Listen, Naeem, I appreciate you being on the podcast. Even though you're at war with the world, you seem to be a good man. You seem not to be such a good man to go to war with. I wouldn't recommend it. But I do, appreciate you coming on, man. Much love for you.
Appreciate you for having me, brother.
Always. Come on.